Recording in progress.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left something. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey shot with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.
Yo, what up, folks? Welcome back. It's another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Make sure y'all follow us on our Twitter handle at Barbershop SPOR2, where we are streaming this live right now. You can also watch this live on our Twitch channel, on our YouTube channel, and also Facebook Live. I'm Trey Frazier, and that's the brother Maestro Styles right over there. Welcome back, man.
Yeah, man, I'm back, man. I ain't all the way, but I'm good enough to go because it's time to go. So we going. How you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Hey, I gotta ask you, man. How's your mental health these days, man? Because aside from being under the weather and missing out last week, sports wise, man, it's got to be rough for you right now, man.
Hey, man,
it's got to be rough.
All prayers out to Anthony Edwards, bro.
Well, that's what you're doing.
Hey, man, what you want me to say, man? You sitting here. See, that's the problem with you niggas.
That's what you're doing, man.
The problem with you niggas is that y'all sitting here worrying about football games and shit, and it's a man out here having a real life existential, if I'm saying the word right, crisis in his young life, and y'all worried about games and shit. I ain't worried about that, man. I'm on a different playing field.
You worried about Ant-Man?
I'm worried about his well-being. I'm worried about that woman's well-being. I ain't worried about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, man. Look, they going through some shit, some family crisis and shit, man. I ain't worried about no football, man.
So that's it, huh? That's it? Just throw the season away?
Hey, man, it's more important things going on in this world right now, man.
Than the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got that right. You got that right.
White players are talking about are feeling like they could be black players in a football game. It's way more important shit going on right now.
You sure about that, man? This stuff's worth talking about, man.
I'm saying there's more important things to talk about than the state of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, sure, and I get that, but you guys are in a playoff race right now, and y'all about to let this thing slip if y'all don't get it together, man. What's going on, man?
Hey, man.
Why Pickens ain't blocking for his homie, man? What's going on with that?
Why is this woman airing out his personal business? He's wrong. He's damn wrong.
Look,
but you ain't got to put it on social media.
Yeah.
You ain't got to do that, Trey.
Look, they gonna do what they gonna do, man.
That's it.
Hey, man. They gonna do what they gonna do, bro. These cats, they get in the game. They making millions of dollars, and the girlies is coming out, and they living it up, man. I don't know what you want me to say in regard to that.
I
get there's something a bit compelling to that story. So I guess some text was exposed to the public.
Hey, man, the short of it is that Anthony Edwards is what's the contract? 5 years, $280 million, whatever his money look like now.
He got the bag.
You getting bread. You're getting all this money. You don't know what to do. Like, you're getting attention. You're getting money, and you're skeeting in this woman. And I don't know if you've seen the woman. I didn't. I had a coworker.
I wasn't sure that was her or not, but I think it's the one picture that's been surfacing, right?
I follow her on Instagram now because somebody showed me the pictures of her.
Oh,
trying to tell.
You trying to shout her a holler?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know my role. I know the level I'm in life. she got a $280 million nigga nutting in her. Like I don't think that she would be interested.
You can't compete. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's not something I aspire. I just aspire to look. I mean, to be honest with you, I look. Hey man, he nutted in her, and she is pregnant, and he don't want to have the baby. And look, she leaked text messages, and I wish she wouldn't have done that. But I mean, the way he was talking to her is kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe she felt like her hand was being forced. I don't know, man. Look, hey, Anthony Edwards, man, get some condoms, bro, or pay the tab.
It's not just Ant-Man, and I don't want to take away from the situation, but it's all athletes.
Well, how do you feel like you're taking away from the situation? What you mean?
Well, I wanna generalize it more so than just kind of focusing on his situation, and I get that he's been like the topic at discussion.
Yeah, but sure. I mean, broaden it.
But
I don't know, because I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, look,
because we just got through talking about this with Zion, right? And those are two different situations.
Yeah.
But it's still a story that involves an athlete and a woman. It still involves that. You know what I mean? So,
well, look. Here's the conclusion that I've come to, man. Look, man. This ain't the first man that skeeted in a woman irresponsibly. It won't be the last.
Sure.
It's whether you're $280 million up, or you're less than, or you just a nigga that work at Safeway. If a woman is giving you sex, consistently enough, mm-hmm. there becomes a time where you feel like, hey, maybe I don't need to wear rubbers. That's bad advice. That is not a good thing to do.
That is a problem. That is a problem.
I ain't gonna say it's a problem. I'm just saying unless you're planning on having kids,
it's a problem.
I'm not gonna say it's a problem because again, if
no, it's a problem if you don't want kids but still elect to not use a rubber.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. But look, man. I'll be honest with you, man. In total honesty, my man showed me a picture of it, and I said, "Oh yeah, I done nutted in it too," and that's wrong to say. That's wrong. Bad, Maestro. But I look, man. Sometimes you get caught in the moment, man.
That's bad advice.
It's bad. No, it's yeah. But I get it. Yeah. But I get it, man. I get it. Look, I'm not here to judge that man for doing that. What I will criticize is how he's talking to her in text messages. That's the only thing I don't care for. Mm-hmm. I was listening to Joe Budden podcast today, and they was talking about it, and he was saying that $100,000 is a very nice price. Like it should have been way more than that.
Now you're talking about is that the abortion cost, or is that okay?
That's how much. That's how much he offered to give her, he offered to give her $100,000.
Right.
And that's supposed to cover, obviously the abortion and any
right.
mental anguish.
Yeah. So I'll give my opinion on that particular part of the story. So I don't think he should be judged for wanting to not have children yet.
Sure.
I don't, and quite frankly, and you said it earlier, that those text messages are private conversations that shouldn't be shared with the public. And so, I get where the criticism is coming from because it went public, but that man shouldn't be criticized for how he feels about that whole situation.
Sure. I do feel like the way he's talking to her is crazy, though. I do personally feel it. Like, I get it. You ain't trying to have a baby, all things considered.
Yeah.
But if a woman expressing to you whether, and I don't, look, I know it's a lot of speculation about was she trying to trap the nigga? Is she even really pregnant? All those conversations,
right,
and which we would never know to be true or untrue.
We'll never know that. We know that a culture like that does exist, but we don't know with this particular woman. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that. But if a woman expressed to you via text message, like her reservations about doing that to her body because it's happened before or whatever her reservations is.
Yeah.
I feel like as man, hey, bruh, like even though you feel how you feel about it, you should attack this with a little bit more coof and a little bit more sensitivity, even though you want her to get the abortion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's where I'll criticize him. Like if those text messages be true, and I guess we all believe in them to be true.
Yeah.
I wish he wouldn't. I wish he wouldn't approach it that way. I wish he would approach it with a little bit more tact and a little bit more like you care, like you give a fuck.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you on that front, and to just kind of bring kind of the Zion situation into it a little bit, just to kind of maybe compare the two. I think the one thing in common with these two stories is that both these guys' business is out in the street, and it really shouldn't be that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but hey man, if you'd have kept it a little more player than you did in both situations, maybe this situation wouldn't be in the street.
Maybe, but
maybe. So yes, they should accept some responsibility or accountability for leaking private information. But I mean, for me, hey man, did you do everything as a man to try and avoid that? And just looking at those text messages, it don't seem like he handled this the best of ways, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But hey man, wear condoms, bro. I get it. I know you can fit the bill. Times getting crazy. Y'all out here drinking, having fun. Shorty is thick, to say the least. Whether it's real or not, don't care. I ain't ask you. In the moments, you get a little caught up in the moment sometimes, man. And
cats gotta wise up, man.
Yeah.
Because at some point early in life, early in your NBA life, you gotta wise up. At some point, man.
Or you don't. I mean, let's be clear, man. Plenty of these dudes got kids, and they ain't married to the woman they had kids with. So,
sure.
Look,
and that's fine. And that's fine.
Right.
No judgment on this side.
Let's be clear. Anthony Edwards will be just fine. This is just a something that's happening right now. So of course it's not going to seem like it's just fine in the moment of it being just fine.
Right.
I mean, in the moment of it happening. I'm sorry, but hey man, if she has the baby will grow, and whether he cares for the child or don't, he'll be okay. And if he does, which we all hope he would, if she has the baby, we would hope that he would, play his role. Mm-hmm. The baby will be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course,
everything will be okay.
Of course.
But I wish you wouldn't. I wish you would have kept that private, and because it's public, I wish you would have responded to her better.
And I'll say one last thing. In the midst of this story out in the public and the things that he has to deal with when it comes to her and potentially this child if she decides to have it, Ant-Man, don't let that affect your play on the basketball court. That's all I'll say about that. Like, just keep doing your thing. Y'all, they the best team in the West, for folks that don't that haven't been checking the standings, but the T-Wolves are number one in the Western Conference right now.
That's what's up.
So that's a great thing. That's a great thing.
I have noticed a little extra effort in Rudy Gobert. I haven't been watching the standings, but I think I watched the Timberwolves game last week, and I was like, okay, like he it's he got a little pep in his step. I noticed.
Yeah, but it's kind of like I was saying when we had Vince Wright on, when they made the trade, and when when Cat was hurt and he was getting back, and they made the Conley trade, I needed to see a sample size of those guys playing together for a certain amount of games before we can really judge, okay, is this team really serious, or is this just something that's just going to fail, right from the jump? And right now, it looks like it's working right now. And I'm going to say because it's fluid. So
exactly.
It's fluid. It's fluid. But for right now, for right now, because they number one in the West, right now it's working. Am I saying they're going to the finals? No. I don't think they're going to the finals. Am I saying this is a team that can get to the Western Conference Finals? No. I think the ceiling for this team, if they keep this up, second round exit. I think that's the ceiling right now, based on what everybody else is doing in the West.
Well, I mean, and then we got to define worked. I mean, look, I get what you're saying right now. Right now. And I'm with you. I mean, like I said, I watched them play last week, and you see it. They look good right now.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go. But that's what I'll say. They look good. I'm not gonna say this trade worked or didn't work. I don't know what their intentions are. Is this the roster that they feel like is championship ready? Do they feel that way, or do they feel like this is just a step?
Mm-hmm. Or are they surprised where they are right now? Maybe they didn't expect to be number one.
Right, or is it just December and nobody's really playing? I mean, quite frankly, that I tend to lean towards that. Like I remember last year, this was the Pelicans we were talking about that were number one.
Mm-hmm. Until they had the injuries and then they dropped in the standings. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, look, shout out to the Timberwolves right now. And I leave it at that. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I feel like this is going to be like this is a team. Like this is a championship kind of a team.
Right,
I don't feel that way.
Right. No, I got you. We got a guest coming on in about 5 minutes. Ace from the Wincinnati Podcast covers the Cincinnati Bengals. Will be on with us to talk about the state of the Bengals, 8-6 team with a backup quarterback that's playing some of the best football out of the backups that we've seen up to this point. We'll talk about that, and then they got a date with your Steelers this Sunday. So Saturday. Okay, yeah. So we definitely gonna get into that. Since we on the topic of basketball, man, John Morant, welcome back to the league, and in a fashion that we all loved him to be in. Hitting the buzzer beater shot, man. Taking it to the rim last night. But I don't want to talk so much about the game as I do the parlay that I played that I thought I won last night, but then woke up this morning and found out that I didn't win it after all. So one of my parlays was Desmond Bain had a over under 4.5 assists. Mm-hmm. I played the over. He got 5 assists in the game last night. I won the parlay. It was a 5-leg parlay. Next thing you know, I wake up this morning and I'm about to go, set up some, lineups for today. And I'm noticing my account was, I had less money in there. And I'm like, wait, I thought I won something. So went back to open the sports book, and they took his 5th assist away overnight. They being I guess being the NBA or the stat people, whoever, records the stats and stuff. They took his 5th assist away, and now he's only recording 4 assists for the game last night. So I ended up not winning the parlay, and I'm on Twitter, and, not that this was a trending topic, but I was trying to see if anybody else kind of caught this, overnight. And there were several people that, put $100 on a 7-leg parlay. Dude won $2,900, got that joint ripped right out of him just because they rescinded his 5th assist. So I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
It's tough out here in these streets, man.
I get that your money was affected, and that's important, man. But John Morant did have a hell of a comeback game. That just
no doubt. No doubt.
35 points in 34 minutes or some wild shit I thought I read.
He was on my he was one of my legs in my parlay. I took the over on him. I think it was 20. Was it 20? Over under 26.5 or something like that. I took the over on that. Yeah. And early on it didn't look promising. it wouldn't have shocked me if he scored less than that, just given he's been away from basketball. But I said, you know what, this dude's gonna ball out. I'm gonna take the over on this cat, and sure enough, he got the.
Where they at in the standings this year? I mean, so far this year.
Memphis, they started out.
I know they're not. I'm about to say, I know they're not. They weren't winning at some. Like they weren't doing good at the beginning. I know.
Yeah, they started out so terrible, man. The Steven Adams situation, him not being there. Obviously, there's no Dylan Brooks there. So then, now you got this team that's just kind of they were 7-16, kind of coming into the game last night. So yeah, a lot of people think that based off of last night's result, that this is a team that could try to catapult themselves to at least the play-in, tournament in that 9, that 7 through 10 spot. It depends, man. I would like to see parts of that team come back, and we forget what's the other cat, Brendan Clark. Who was kind of pivotal for them last year. He's missed some time too, and I think he's supposed to come back at some point in the season. So I think if you can get those two guys back, I would feel more confident that they could even get to as high as maybe the 6th seed.
So in December, you don't see like that. That's the setup for you in December, the 6th seed. I mean, this team was what, a 2 or 3 seed last year.
They were 2 last year.
So you, in your mind, there's no scenario that they get back into that top 4 area.
For me, no.
Let's be clear. Clark was gone last year. Steven Adams missed significant time last year, and this team still did what they did.
Yeah, I mean, and they did it the previous year, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yes. So I mean, for all that. I mean, why have them so low? Is the question.
I think it's because of the other teams. I think the other teams have started, hot. The Kings were a 3 seed last year, and they're right now in like the top 4 right now. You can't discount what the Nuggets have done. Dallas with Luka's right there, at the top of the Western Conference. There's some teams that's up there that you can make the case are going to have some staying power. And we can't forget about what the Lakers are trying to do. Golden State, Phoenix is kind of starting off a little bit sluggish. They're in that play-in spot right now. So it feels like Memphis is dug too deep of a hole, but Ja Morant gives them that opportunity to at least get to that play-in spot, anywhere from that 7 to 10. But I can't see any higher than a 6.
Yeah, all right. Well, I think it's way too early for that, but I hear you.
All right,
I hear you. I think it's way this is way too early for that.
All right.
Just like these teams can catapult, them other teams could. I mean, I get what they're doing right this second.
Yep.
But who's to say Sacramento don't get it in? Don't just fall off. I don't mean fall the face of the earth like a 12 seed. But
right.
Who's to say that they don't but I hear you.
No, sure. And again, Phoenix is not in that top 6 right now. Phoenix is in that 7 to 10. We expect Phoenix to rise up. Golden State, we kind of expect them to rise up. You don't?
I don't.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay.
I trust in stuff, man.
Yeah.
I trust in stuff. I think the interesting thing with the Grizzlies though is if they do make it as a playing team, they're kind of a sneaky playing team because technically, like if Ja was playing with them, they wouldn't be in this position. So I think that kind of makes them scary, and I think that's the path for them to get into the playoffs is getting that play-in spot.
No doubt. We got Ace here from the Wincinnati Podcast. Covers the Cincinnati Bengals. You can find his podcast wherever you get your podcasts on all the streaming platforms. Hey, Brand, appreciate you. Finally able to get you on, man, after several weeks of trying to get you on here. But since we kind of on the Grizzlies topic just quickly, what ceiling do you have them now that they have Ja Morant in the lineup?
Man, I think that they could be a dangerous team, bro. I'm not saying that they'll win like a championship or something like that, but they could get in, win in the first round. I think after that, it gets a little tricky because you have some other teams that are a little bit deeper. They have a better supporting cast. but I think Ja Morant can at least will them to a first round, victory in the first round. I think he can at least do that for them.
You think so? You think they could finish what, top 4 seed? You think they're like a 5 or 6 seed?
Nah, I don't. I think that they get in from the play-in. I
From the
don't think
play-in?
that they're going to be able to. I don't think that they're going to be able to, like you said. I don't think that they can. Now they did do it last year where they won all those games in a row, but it's tough to do that now. They'll have stretches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think the realistic thing is to say they get to the play-in and they get into the playoffs that way. So I think they can do that. And then I think that they're a little tricky because they're not going to be your typical play-in team, right? Like how we see
That I agree with. That I agree with.
It's like, like they can definitely win, I think, in the first round. But the further we get, I think by then, Phoenix is going to be gelling. You guys kind of talked about the teams that'll be gelling, the Warriors and stuff like that. I think it'll be tough for them to get past that second round.
No doubt. Hey man, let's kind of get right into it, man. The Wincinnati Podcast. Tell us about it. Let us know how you got started at the podcasting, and where the idea came from in covering the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, so I'll start at the very beginning because it's kind of a chapter layer story. So initially, when I started my YouTube channel that was called New Stripe City, there wasn't many people that looked like us speaking on the Bengals. And there wasn't really much Bengals content at all on YouTube at the time. It's crazy because now we're drowning in all sorts of team content.
Yeah.
And so that was why I kind of started. And I originally started with a group of fellas. We had a round panel. And it was Bengals Real Talk. And then, unfortunately, it was just hard for everybody with families to keep the same schedule. So I just kept consistently going to the point where I kind of blew up on YouTube. I'm not like super viral. It's small market viral, right? Like I had a video where I was going in on Andy Dalton because I think ironically, he had a bad game against the Ravens. And I just got so mad. And a lot of people started watching it. And that kind of got me some traction. Then people started to see, like when I did the draft stuff, some of the stuff that I was talking about ended up kind of happening just from research and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave me credibility. And people started to look to me to get like my opinion on the Bengals. While this is going on, my partner, Zim Hude, he's blowing up on Instagram. And there's people in my comments saying, hey, you need to check out Zim. I didn't know of Zim. And then it was crazy because I had my podcast. Then I heard him having his podcast, and then I listened to it one day. I was like, this is crazy how me and him don't know each other. And so Zim used to do these lives on Instagram like we see to this day. And he had a segment called like the Players Lounge where he would bring, Bengals people on. And I just decided, let me just go ahead and jump on just to talk Bengals and stuff like that. And when we did it, when me and him were on the screen, the comments went crazy. Like people were going crazy. Like, how did this happen? This and that. And we just naturally hit it off. So, we started talking, and I think I remember a list coming out, and it was like Bengals content creators, and me and him were on the list. And we're like, me and you aren't on the list? Like, this is crazy. Let's do a podcast together. So that's where it started. And immediately when we were ready to do the podcast, we got an offer from, I think, SB Nation immediately. So we didn't even get to do it ourselves off the rip. So we accepted the offer because we knew that it was going to be on a big platform with what SB Nation does over there. We knew that was going to get a lot of eyes on us. So we started off there. And when we started there, we kind of thought that we were going to be able to get a lot of opportunities, like access to players, but it didn't end up being like that. We kind of had to get it out the mud and land like player after player. And once we started to get that vibe, thanks to Zim, we were able to land our biggest one that really put us on the map, which was AJ Green. So
nice.
We both had a mutual friend that was basically AJ Green's barber, had that connection. He alley-ooped us. AJ did the interview with us. It went crazy because this was a time where, players don't like really talking to the media because, number one, it's their job, but then they're worried about setup questions and stuff like that. So we were able to start there and just built off of that. And then came the time where we expanded so much and got big on that platform that we were like, man, we can do this ourselves, man. So we decided to create the Wincinnati Podcast Network. myself and Zim moving what used to be called Orange is the New Black podcast over there because they was definitely about to try to get us for that name. So
Nice.
We had to change
Nice.
it up. So we got over there, and a funny story is me and Zim ended up going and flying and being blessed enough to go to the Super Bowl. So on the flight out there, I actually ended up sitting next to a gentleman that we actually ended up bringing his podcast on. He was a former broadcaster and stuff like that.
Nice.
So
now, did you guys go to Radio Row at the Super Bowl?
We did not go to Radio Row. We did not go. So like at that time, people weren't really like how acceptive people are of YouTube and stuff now. It wasn't like that back then. Like it's like, okay, you got to be, ESPN,
right,
Illustrated to kind of get in that area. So now it seems like it's crazy because it's like the next year that seemed like when they started bringing a lot of the YouTubers in. I know TD Fence Talk. I still remember when his channel was growing. Now he's in commercials and all kind of stuff. So now it's like what we do now is more acceptable and people realize it. It's like a lot of us really had an inside post. When you look at a lot of major media, it's no shot to them, but for them to be able to cover 32 teams plus other sports, like nobody can do that. So a lot of people like to hear our insight and what we have to offer about our team because, a lot of the stuff, this is what we're going through every day. This is what we're reading on. This is what we're keeping the post on because we got to keep the viewers satisfied. And obviously you want to be up here knowing what you're talking about. So that's kind of where it started at, bro. And it was a dope experience. It's still a great experience now. And we're just building and building. And the places that it's brought me, like, I never would have thought, bro, like going to a game that people would recognize me just from YouTube.
Nice.
Like, you might see the views and the views might say this, but that doesn't tell you how many people are in the room. It might be 30 people in a room watching your YouTube channel, but that only counts as one view. So that's when it really hit me. I was like, man, I could just go to a Bengals game. Nah, I can't anymore. It's going to be, I got to dap people up and stuff like that. But it's love, bro, because, it's just a blessing to be able to speak on sports and be able to build a platform from it. Like, so it's been a good run, man. And I think, for us being consistent, that's what we're trying to strive to do is just keep the content coming, stay consistent, and try to figure out what the next level is, whether that's trying to get on with the Bengals or whatever and stuff like that. That's what we're going to try to do. But making the connections and meeting family members have really pushed us a long way. I remember being at the Super Bowl and me and Zim are walking out. And if you guys ever get the chance, even if your team's not in the Super Bowl, anybody watching, go to the NFL fan experience. It's super dope.
I went and
I went when you was the Rams and Patriots.
It's a dope opportunity. You got random NFL players walking around. So me and Zim are leaving, and this old dude is like, "Hey, I watch y'all. Oh, these are my boys." It's Larry Ogunjobi's dad, man. So like it's crazy to see something like that. And then we got stopped by Mike Hilton's dad. So it's dope to see that, the reach that you get from this is just, you just never know, bro. You don't know who's watching. You don't know what coaches are watching. You don't know what players are watching to make sure you're not trashing them. So you just never know, bro.
For sure. All right, well, let's get into the state of the Cincinnati Bengals, man. So, I mean, obviously, y'all have lofty expectations, and y'all still obviously are in that ballpark to say. I mean, obviously Joe Burrow's out, but your boy, the new JB, coming in and filling in the void while Joe Burrow's out. I mean, talk to me about the state of the Bengals right now.
Yeah, the state of the Bengals right now, man, is, I think, confidence right now because when Joe Burrow went out, you kind of saw how it shook the team up. It was kind of like, man, all the aspirations that we had, Super Bowl, it was already a tough year because he was hurt earlier in the season. Now he's hurt for real. And it's like we dropped those games early. What are we going to do? And then the first game that we had against the Steelers, they tried to use the Joe Burrow game plan, and it was clearly evident from a game plan standpoint that he was not Joe Burrow. Like I'm not here to throw shade against Jake Browning. It's just they were trying to get him to play 4D chess, and at that time he just wasn't ready to do it. And as a result, we lost that game. And so when I saw that, and a lot of people saw that, they kind of thought like, man, is this the guy? Like, we don't know. Like, we saw Jake Browning in preseason, but it wasn't with the starters. It wasn't with the starting offensive line. Like, he played a little bit with them, but it was probably only one series with a Jamar Chase, with a T. Higgins. So we really didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And then you get the pleasant surprise of the Jacksonville game. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they're doing what we need, what we kind of analyzed that they need to do. They need to run the ball. They need to do something that fits with Jake. And I have to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff because they completely changed the offense from an empty shotgun offense to more of a play action, somewhat run-based kind of offense, stuff that he was comfortable with. And I think once they did that, because the team is so talented surrounding them, because you talk about a team that went to two straight AFC championships, they had the talent there. He was able to kind of work within that system. And I think a little bit too, obviously, like we're facing right now, we're having to go against Mason Rudolph. When you don't have much film on the replacement, you kind of struggle. You kind of don't know what to really expect. And with Jake Browning, I feel like that's part of it too, is an element of surprise.
Yeah.
And for me, I really bought in after the Minnesota game because I felt like we could beat the Colts, and he did a good job in that game. But he hadn't really faced a team that really was just crazy with the blitz.
Yeah.
And with
Brian Flores was dialing it up.
Yeah, Flores was dialing it up. So when he did that, I'm like, I still can't believe this dude 21 points in the fourth quarter on that defense. That defense hasn't allowed a touchdown in like a month. Like that was mind blowing. So I think right now is, focus and confidence on trying to make something happen. But being that we've dropped the games that we have, and being that the gauntlet that the AFC is right now, it's like, man, you got to try to win week to week. You can't look past anybody. You got to focus on who's in front of you and just let the rest sort out itself.
Well, let's talk about who's in front of you. You got the Steelers coming up on Saturday. Then after that, it's Kansas City in Kansas City. And then you guys close out against the Browns in Cleveland, I think it is.
It's in Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati. Those are some winnable games, maybe except for the Kansas City game, because Kansas City's trying to get that top spot. But how do you guys see it shaking out?
Yeah, for Bengals people, we're very comfortable with it. I would almost argue, it's going to sound crazy, I would say that we're more comfortable going against the Chiefs than the Browns, because the Browns, for some reason, they've just been a tough matchup with us. Yeah. The Chiefs game is going to be interesting because the way that I see it is they didn't really figure out Joe Burrow. I mean, they kind of did, but they kind of haven't. And I think that the Bengals have always figured out Pat Mahomes when it comes to Lou Anarumo. So the fact that we still have Lou, I think that that's going to be confusing for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then you talk about how they've struggled offensively this season. Right. You kind of don't know there. And then, like, from a defensive perspective, if you want to say that they did get to Joe Burrow last year in the playoffs, then I would say that they just kind of discovered it in that game. Like with Jake Browning, it's not the same game plan. So I feel somewhat optimistic. I feel less optimistic now that Jamar Chase might miss the game. Now, if Jamar Chase is out, I don't know. I don't know which way that goes. Right.
Yeah, that's huge.
With the Browns, I would probably say Joe Flacco, with him turning the ball over at the rate that he is, he better not do that against us. That's all I'm gonna say. Like that. Like, obviously, Myles Garrett is an action figure in a football player's body. Like, he is unreal. But if Joe Flacco is turning the ball over like that, you can't do that and expect to win games. Especially in the NFL. Now they've gotten away with it the last two games, but when you play a team that can possibly score and stuff like that and capitalize off of those turnovers, I think it's a little tough. So, and then when it comes to the Steelers, that's still a tough matchup. It's AFC North football. You're going into that game without Jamar Chase. Like, you only have T. Higgins, so I expect the Steelers to key in on him. So the other receivers are going to have to step it up. But the biggest thing to me is also losing DJ Reader. You have to make sure that you're trying to stop Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. I'm afraid of Jalen Warren. I was afraid of him the first matchup. We did a pretty solid job on him, but this is us without DJ Reader. So,
that's huge.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be huge.
Make sure that you can do your thing against that team.
Well, man, as the resident Steelers fan, and I've been trying to avoid Steelers talk this entire episode. I'll say this, man. I'm not happy with my team for obvious reasons. I'm not gonna trigger my mental health. I'm working on my mental health, so I'm not gonna trigger myself. I'm not happy with them. But I'll say this, and it's just the way I'm wired.
Go ahead.
There's no way that
I'm trying to get this out of you since the beginning of the show. Go ahead.
Well, I saved it for the guests, sir. There's nobody ever in the world that's ever going to get me to be on public national broadcast anywhere that I could be seen. Well, I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to lose. So allow me to come with some. Look, man, I don't want you to take this. I don't want you to take
bro.
this. This is going to no. This because I am reaching the reach that I'm going for today is a catastrophic proportion. But here's what I'll say. One thing about Rudolph, who I feel like shouldn't even be on this team, but he's here, and that's who I'm gonna rock with. He's been here. One thing he do know how this shit works. So in my mental mind, he knows how this works. If anything, I know that Mason Rudolph can look from the sideline onto the field and see very clearly some of the things that are wrong offensively. A being George Pickens is not getting the ball enough. Freiermuth is not getting it over the middle enough. Even though we did utilize that first Cincinnati game, I feel like.
So you think that's going to change this week?
I think Mason Rudolph is going to make a very concerted effort to do so.
Mason Rudolph's going to do that?
He don't have a choice, sir.
And the reason I'm asking it this way is because the whole idea of getting rid of Matt Canada was so that those guys, Freiermuth, could get the ball over the middle, so that George Pickens could get the ball more.
Well, if you notice that very first game, which was against Cincinnati, it happened.
Yeah, it did.
It happened.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Went to Freiermuth over the middle. That was the 400 yards of offense.
Right.
That was the first game. So it went to Freiermuth. We ran the ball well. Throwing, but it the right time. It was the right time. The only thing we lacked in that game was actually closing our drives with scores. But outside of that, the offense was flowing. It
looked different. No question.
Yeah, they were doing what they needed to do. I don't know what's going on recently outside of Kenny Pickett being injured and Mitch Trubisky not needing to be on this team next year. But that's a whole.
And that's my thing. And that's my question is, we saw that in the first Cincinnati game. So, and I get the quarterback change and all that, but
quarterback change is very important. I look.
Sure, but
here we go.
Sure, but shouldn't the offensive coordinator, whoever that is, should still be trying to get these guys the ball, regardless of who the quarterback is?
Well, I don't know how much. I don't know how much Steelers football you've been watching. But Mitch Trubisky be throwing a lot of bullshit passes, man. He be trying. I'm not gonna say he don't be trying. He do be trying.
Okay.
It just Mitch Trubisky is not a good quarterback. He's not even a good number 2 at this. And look, maybe it's Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got a lot of shit going on with him right now. Inside the locker room, outside the locker room, effort here, scheming there. The offensive line hasn't gelled really outside of the running game, but and even that's kind of dissipated in the past week or two. So look, man. Again, if I could look, you're trying to add logic to this conversation. In a conversation,
I'm asking questions because I don't know.
All right. Well.
But you're getting upset with me because I'm asking questions.
I'm upset with you because you're being logical in a situation where Pittsburgh is not playing. I'm reaching right now. We don't have a quarterback. Fitzpatrick ain't right. Najee Harris ain't right. Freiermuth ain't all the way right. The offensive line has not gelled. Casey is out for the year, and say what you want about Casey, he's a vet. Well, he was a veterable, and I can get into that whole That bullshit.
I ain't gonna front, bro. He shouldn't have got suspended for that.
He should have got suspended. He should have got put out the game.
As a Vontaze Burfict person, when Vontaze Burfict moved on to the Raiders and he kept doing that stuff, they banned him from the league.
They banned him from the league.
When you continue to do it, like, because Vontaze obviously had that rep, right? Like, he's going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, when the fines, I remember Vontaze had like $5 million in fines.
Yeah.
And when he didn't stop doing it, like, even when he left the Bengals and went to the Raiders, they banned him, bro. They got him up out of there.
Yeah.
That's true.
But damn that. That should have happened to this. That should
Here we go.
Damn, that shit. It's too early. Cause look, he did it. He did it with Pittman. Bad play. I watched it a million times. He didn't lead with his helmet. He left with his shoulder. But the truth of the matter is that he saw Slim in the air. He could have just tapped him when he fell, and it would have been fine. It's bad play. Kick him out the game. Fine him. All those things are valid. Suspending him for the rest of the year for that and a Brown and whatever he.
What's the other hit he did though?
It was against Cleveland. It's been two other. I count two, but yes, 4 have been documented. But I count 2. So all that to say, look, man, I'm reaching. I'm hoping that Mason Rudolph. Along with the running game getting some semblance, I know DJ Reader is big in the running game for Cincinnati. I'm hoping that we could do just enough. Look, man, our secondary being thin has put Patrick Peterson back in positions that I don't necessarily want him in. I haven't had to hear, but we've even been able to minimize his play on the field with Levi Wallace and Joey Porter becoming our number 1 corner. But now with Fitzpatrick and Casey being out, like it's not good, man. It's not good. Highsmith ain't all the way healthy. He's playing. I get it. I saw him, but you see the difference that he's clearly been injured. So our defense is fleeting. They're on the field too long because of the offense. I'm just hoping that we can get some chunk plays and just a consistent enough run game to make this game challenging. And let me just get it out the way. I'll say 2017 Pittsburgh.
Okay, I thought you was gonna go crazy. That's that. I can respect that. I can respect that.
No. But do you understand how if you're just basing it on how we've played in the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that is the reach.
No, I get it. No, I get it. No, it's respectable. I just thought you was gonna go. I thought you was gonna go left. But
if you would have said
that's not crazy,
blowing us out or something like that, that would have been reaching to me. I feel like that's a realistic kind of score prediction.
Respect.
Then maybe my heart is hurting, and this is my first time I've been able to unload and unpack these types of things.
Pause.
All right. Valid.
That was crazy.
Point for Trey. No homo. Yeah, man. But this is I've been trying to keep my stress levels down, so I just like, you know what? It is what it is. We some shit. I knew we was. Look. Let's be clear. We had a winning record, and I was on here saying we're not a good team.
Right.
I don't know how we're winning games,
but we also said it, and even I said it. I said it. I said Pittsburgh, they gonna make the playoffs. They right there. Look at the schedule. Cardinals 2-10 coming in. Patriots 2-10 coming in. Both games at home. We said it. We said it. We said it. They was set up. They was set up to go on a nice little run. And, you know, I somewhat, and the Arizona game was a little crazy with the weather delays and, you know, and all that stuff. But then you get to the Patriot game and you got Bailey Zappi coming in there, putting up 21 in the first half on y'all niggas. Yeah, man.
Look, man,
that's wild. That's wild.
The problem that I have is the very obvious gap of gameplay from Kenny Pickett to Mitch Trubisky, considering that Kenny Pickett has not played well all year. That's my problem right now. I'm having a very serious issue that Kenny Pickett is on the bottom half of quarterbacks, and our second-string quarterback is like eons below that.
Yeah.
I got a problem with that. And it's trash. It's trash, and I get it. Deontay Johnson not tackling in the Cleveland game. Whatever happened with the turnover
In the Cincinnati game, yeah.
And George Pickens with his antics on the field, and I get it. The problem for me is right this second, and these are things that need to be addressed. I'm not, shitting on that. The problem is that we're playing like a shit team, and those things are highlighted because we're losing. And because George Pickens didn't just start doing stupid shit on the field,
Right?
like it's just being magnified because we're losing. And all right, cool. We need to get to some winning football. And
But is that the solution? Because this is what, when you guys drafted Kenny Pickett, I said on AFC North Talk, welcome to the Andy Dalton experience. Kenny Pickett is good enough for y'all to win and stay middle of the pack, and he's not bad enough for you guys to end up with a top 5 pick. So what happens is you stay in this area where you're like in the 20s, and all of the top quarterbacks you can't get.
Trey, what did I tell? Ask Trey when we had to draft a quarterback. I never wanted Kenny Pickett.
He didn't want him.
Yeah.
He didn't want him.
I never wanted him.
You didn't want a quarterback. Period.
I didn't want a quarterback. Period. I said let us just be trash with Mitch Trubisky until a good quarterback
class. And stuff
yeah. I did not want a quarterback.
The bad when y'all should have done it, and I said this because it was clear that Ben was near the end
3 years ago.
That year when y'all traded for Minka.
Yeah,
should have just let it go, bro.
Yeah,
just let it go, and then taking that quarterback, got the heir apparent, because Ben was making it tough for y'all. So I understand, like it wasn't like Ben was welcoming of somebody to come in and be his replacement. Like he didn't like Mason Rudolph.
Exactly.
He didn't like any of that. So it was a tough situation. But I kept telling Steelers fans, I'm like, look, one day Ben is gonna leave, and he's gonna leave y'all without anybody to be able to take the reins. And the way that it fell, man. It's just tough.
Yeah, in addition to like Ben kind of making it difficult for them was the 11-game win streak that season. What was it, 2020 season?
29, yeah.
Yeah, the 11-game win streak, leading up to the bottom of the season and going into the playoffs.
But you remember what I said then?
Yeah.
I said this team ain't good, and I don't know how we keep tricking teams on bullshit short routes and yak. But this team wasn't good then. Ben Roethlisberger could not stretch the field then.
Yeah.
And 2 years before that. So look, I'm here. I get it. And I even understand that Mason Rudolph wasn't good enough off the field to make them feel like, ooh, we got a decision to make. But it happened. They tried to. I think Mason Rudolph was 3rd round or something like that. They drafted him.
Yeah,
second round, right?
Yeah.
So like they was there, like they tried, and they tried to do it in a way that was somewhat respectful to Ben Roethlisberger because they respect the legacy. But here's the part about it, and I agree with you. He should have been gone. But when you got a Hall of Fame quarterback, it's that kind of loyalty thing that the thing that I respect about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I don't like about the Pittsburgh Steelers, because it's like, yeah, you got to kind of let him go out the way he want to go out.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He's the best Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback of all time. Yeah. So you kind of got to let him do it. Like, you don't want to see him go play for the Giants or some wild shit at the end, at the end of his career. Want to retire as a Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
So in that respect, because I wouldn't like to see him in another team unit. Like, I wouldn't liked it. It kind of blemishes it. Like, it kind of blemishes the legacy. It does. I get it. I get free agency and all those things, but I respect that they let him go out on his own will. But here is the penalty for loyalty.
Yeah. So, question about Tomlin.
I'm a bitch about it every single game, every single week until we find our quarterback. I will be bitching about it, though.
So, question about Tomlin. Because all this talk, and like you said, when a team loses, there's always little things that get magnified. And so, the coach comes out and he's talking, and then you got people in the media talking about, well, maybe this might be the end. look, if I had to put a parlay out right now, if I had to bet going to sports book, I would bet money that Mike Tomlin is coming back to coach his team next year.
Yeah, sure.
Where are you at with it? Like, how you feeling about
You
the
asking
coach?
me?
I'm asking you. Like, what?
Okay.
Like as far as like your thoughts about the talk about Tomlin and where, like, how you see this thing, in and out.
It is all valid conversation, but it is just conversation to me.
Sure. Yep.
Look. This will be in my summation, and we don't know it to be true. This will be his first losing season. But that is my summation. He's going to have a losing season this year.
No, they won't. No, he won't. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on, man. We know how this is gonna end, man.
All right.
We know how this is gonna end. They're gonna finish 9-8. They're gonna finish 9-8, man. We know how this is gonna end, bro.
You brought me right back, man. I was trying to be objective, and you brought me right back.
Look, my team is the rival of your team. I've watched this for 17 years. What else am I supposed to think? They're gonna find a way to get 9 wins.
I'm not gonna say that they're not gonna get 9 wins, but it seems different this season.
Yeah,
like
it
the
really
stuff
does.
that he's talking about in the locker room, pulling guys apart, like that can derail a lot of stuff. Like he
They done
mentioned,
had 4 team meetings, private team meetings this year that reached the media.
It felt different last year.
I would say this though.
When they was
better not get rid of Tomlin, because that is you already in quarterback hell. The last thing that you want is to also be in head coach hell. So y'all got to stick through with Tomlin. I will say this though, most people before the season, especially seeing the shine in the division, Lamar coming back, Joe Burrow, a lot of people didn't expect the Steelers to do as well as they did with that first start. So I mean, that's to me, that's all Mike Tomlin. That's all Mike Tomlin.
Right.
For that.
And as I've said at the start of the season, Pittsburgh, they're gonna get 9 wins. They're gonna get 9 wins, but they'll probably be 3rd or 4th in the division, and that's kind of where we're headed at this point.
Well, the only thing I wish that's probably not going to happen. Tomlin's not going to get fired, but let's be clear, y'all. Please don't continue to have Mike Sullivan calling plays. Please go get an offensive coordinator. As much as I love Eddie Faulkner, him promoting a black man to offensive coordinator and letting white Mike Sullivan call plays. I get it. Go get an offensive coordinator. Get an offensive coordinator.
Hey, man, maybe Eric Bieniemy's out there. Commanders fans is trying to run him up out of town.
Well, let's be clear. He's going to be the head coach next year.
Well, that's the hope.
Commanders fans trying to get Tomlin. They trying to get Tomlin.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
They trying to do that trade.
I tell you what. I tell you what. There is nobody on that team that would have me trade for Tomlin if that was a reasonable situation.
Yeah.
Or a real situation. But I tell you what. I wouldn't be mad, not for Tomlin, but I wouldn't be mad at seeing Sam Howell right now in Pittsburgh. I wouldn't be mad at it. I just said I wouldn't be mad at it. Because let's be clear, we drafted him number 1, 20 overall. Sam Howell got drafted in the 5th round somewhere.
Yeah. I would hope that if you do want, or I don't hope, but I think if you want Sam Howell, I think you want Eric Bieniemy with him.
I think I want a damn offensive coordinator that got some sense. That's what I think. Because again, I agree with you, Ace, that look, Kenny Pickett ain't no game blowing, no mind. Like he's not that quarterback. He's easily the worst quarterback in that division. But I think under a good offensive coordinator with everything around it, we compete. I mean, hell, we're a trash team. We've competed this so far. Even though I don't like the way it looks, in my opinion, up until these 2 losses against Arizona and New England, I think we look just as good outside of the Ravens, just as good as anybody else in that division. So for me, we just need to get our shit together. Because if we're
what about Justin Fields though? You're not interested in Justin Fields?
Nah. I don't believe him. I ain't gonna lie. And I get it. It could be a coordinator thing, but we don't have a coordinator. I don't. our offensive line hasn't figured it out. He's going to be running for his life.
I hear what you're saying.
Now I've heard in the more bullshit rumors, least likely to ever happen. I've heard more about rumors of Justin Herbert. Now I welcome that rumor. Now I don't believe that to be true at all.
I mean,
at all.
I thought you were gonna say Baker Mayfield. I thought Herbert ain't going nowhere.
I heard rumors. Now. I love Tomlin. Please don't get it twisted. I love Mike Tomlin. I hope he's the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers until the day I die, or at least until he is proven to be complete, just not the fit for us anymore. But I trade him for Justin Herbert right the fuck now. I mean,
wow.
It's a quarterback league, man. But,
right the.
They're not getting rid of Herbert.
You're not just trading. Hey, you're not just trading Tomlin though. Just know that you're not just trading Tomlin because that contract that Herbert got.
Yeah. but I mean, the only people that we are concerned with paying right now is really nobody. I'm sitting here thinking like T.J. Watt good, Minka good, Cam is on his way out, maybe Najee, but I mean if push come to shove, bye.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it like a player that deserves a second contract on that team right now. Like I can't think of nobody.
Maybe Deontay Johnson just got a contract, but it was kind of friendly, so I could see him maybe
Freiermuth.
Maybe Fryer move, but injuries. I don't know that. I don't think we're gonna have to pay him like a top tight end. I don't think. But knowing this league, we probably will. But maybe Fryer move. So maybe Fryer move. But it's not like tight ends are like high commodity type of money. Right. And then if you really believe, and again, if we talking about Justin Herbert, I play my hand with Donnell Washington. I play my hand with that tight end from Georgia. Let him see if he could cook with Justin Herbert.
If they traded Justin Herbert, it'll be a lot of fans done.
Yeah, that'll shock airwaves for sure. But Ace, getting back to the Bengals, I got to ask you something about the game against the Ravens on Thursday night a few weeks ago. So because I don't believe a lot of what the media, tries to pick apart and stuff. So when they showed the video of you guys coming off the bus or the plane or whatever, and he had that arm brace on, and people kind of trying to make the connection that, ooh, something's wrong with Joe Burrow and his hand, whatever, but it's not on the injury report. And by the way, the league, they concluded their investigation with y'all. They said y'all was in the clear, right? For that?
Yeah,
okay.
We were in the clear for that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But, like, what was your thoughts on all of that? Like, when that happened? And
I thought it was strange. It kind of got wacky for a little bit there because it wasn't something that anybody had heard about. And it wouldn't be far-fetched that they would try to do that just because Bengals fans panic about anything Joe Burrow injury related, right?
Yeah.
So it could have been that dude was wearing allegedly like an iPad thing, and it just exploded on Twitter, and people were like, "What's going on?" So that could have been a reason that they deleted it. But watching him warm up and stuff like that in the game, it didn't look like he had an injury or anything like that. And I saw the play like when it kind of happened, where Clowney kind of went on the hand or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like the next play, that's when he tries to throw it, and then he just can't do anything. So the way that he was warming up and stuff like that, because Bengals fans started investigating and looking at everything, and I saw a lot of clips that didn't indicate that he had a hand injury. It just happened, just was kind of like crazy coincidences, which always seems to happen with Joe Burrow.
Right.
This just happened. Like he had literally said, I think last year, like, "Oh yeah, I'm injury free," and then he has to get an appendix taken out. And then this season, he's telling people not to say something. Then it's the calf strain. So it definitely was like, man, what's going on? But I think they tried to clap back at the NFL by putting Jake Browning on the injury report with the wrist injury.
Wow.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they did that, and they were like, the Bengals are trying to be funny by doing this on the injury report. But Yeah, I don't think that it was a situation where they were trying to hide anything. And, me and them, we kind of tapped in with some of the right people that would know, so they didn't indicate anything that they were trying to hide something. It was just a weird thing though, because when I saw that, I was just like, "What is that?" Because we didn't hear anything about that whatsoever. Right. But apparently they're in the clear. Everything checked out, and I think that they would have had to speak to everybody on the Bengals training staff or any independent doctors, and apparently none of them had mentioned anything about it, so he ended up clearing it.
The Bengals are where right now in the playoff
We're in
race?
the 6th seed.
Six
seed.
Okay.
Yep.
6th seed. Right. You confident? You confident? You good? Y'all there? Y'all in there?
Man, I want that last matchup we had back. I need that one back. Yeah. I need that or that Texans one back because I would feel more comfortable. Now it's like I'm trying to get my PhD in tiebreakers because I don't know what the hell is going on with some of these tiebreakers.
Yeah,
man.
for
Like,
sure.
Yeah.
AFC win percentage, I don't know how that's gonna vary, over the weeks. I'm just in the mode of you got to try to win all of these games because if I'm being realistic, maybe they drop one, right? But I think if they drop one, that could drop them out of the playoffs. That could be the playoffs, yeah. So it really just depends. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't think that it's stamped, but I'm just sitting there hoping every Sunday that they come out with a victory. And this team, I might be a little bit more comfortable just because the last couple of years they've kind of got out to slow starts and they've had kind of these runs at the right time when they need it and have their backs up against the wall. So I know a lot of those players are still in the locker room. So that makes me feel somewhat comfortable, but you just never know, man. This is the NFL. Any given Sunday, anything can happen.
Yep.
Thought it almost happened last week, right?
Yeah.
If you would have asked me, I would have said that, the Vikings one seems like one of the most winnable games, and we almost didn't win that one.
Yeah, almost lost that one. Yeah.
Man, Vikings got
it's a week-to-week league,
yeah.
man. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I think, like some people are saying, the Bengals are just kind of playing with house money right now. You're not supposed to be here anyway after Joe Burrow went down. So I'm just taking it week by week, bro. But I do think that with the teams that they're fighting for those 2 seeds in, I do feel like we're one of the best teams because I'm not believing like the Colts thing like that. Like I don't.
Neither
like y'all were up on them, and if y'all would have kept your foot on the gas, I feel like that game would have been a.
That was a playoff game. That literally was a playoff game. Yeah.
I'm not a believer in the Colts. Like I admire what they've done. I respect what they've done. But when you put them up there with the Baltimores and you put them up there with the Chiefs and all, like, they getting clapped in the first round. Like whoever they play, if they get there. Versus somebody like the Bengals or the Bills, right? Like the Bills are the 10th seed right now.
I was just about
There's
to put
no way in hell that I feel like they're the 10th best team in the AFC. You can't tell me that. There's no way.
And you took the word. You took the next question right up out of me because now. The Bills, look, they beat the Chiefs. They blow out the Cowboys, and now they left with the Chargers, the Patriots, and the Dolphins in Week 18. I mean, you're not about to tell me.
And Maestro, they could win the AFC East.
I was getting there because the Dolphins got the Cowboys, the Ravens, and then Buffalo. So it's funny because I let you talk me off the ledge. Around week 11, week 12, when you was like, they done. I know what they. I know.
I thought they was done. I thought they was done. And then quarterbacks started getting hurt. Yeah. Joe Burrow got hurt, and Deshaun Watson, and like
don't take away from what Buffalo doing.
Sure.
Buffalo won some games. Buffalo's won some games.
And
you know what I like? And you know what I like about their win over Dallas is that Josh Allen had help. Right. Yeah. He had help. James Cook ran the ball. It's like they transformed into a different team now. I guess the question moving forward for Buffalo is that are they going to maintain that style of play?
Well, I don't know whether they're going to maintain that style of play or not. I know that they are beating the Chargers without Justin Herbert. They're beating the Patriots.
Sure.
And then we'll talk about and now they're in a race with the AFC for the AFC East in Week 18.
Yeah.
That's
Miami. Miami effed up.
Miami definitely fucked up.
They effed up. They're gonna go back and look at that Titans game in those final 2 minutes and say, damn, like we let the division slip away. If it comes down to week 18, if it comes down to that.
And I'm sorry, I get that Miami got this stacked team and all those things to be true. But if you're asking me for the division, Josh Allen and the Bills versus Tua and the Dolphins.
In Miami?
In Miami. To be honest with you, I know they got the little thing they do where all the Dolphins fans sit on one side of the stadium, and somehow that makes it hotter for the other side. Whatever those things. I don't fathom Josh Allen in a Week 18 for all the shits and giggles to lose that game. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I could see both teams, winning that game. Like, I could see either or in that matchup. Like, that's probably going to be like the game of the week that week. They're probably going to flex that game to Sunday night.
I think in that situation too, with it being in Miami, that gives Miami a chance. If this was in Buffalo, with it snowing and all that.
I'd pick Buffalo 100% if it was in Buffalo. But it's in Miami. I give Miami a chance. Miami.
And then here's the other piece, man. I'm not sure that I'm not sure that Miami's not losing these last 3 games.
Yeah, that's true.
That is possible. Because what's the narrative? What's the narrative? That they don't beat the good teams, right?
They winning teams.
Yep.
So I mean, look, Dallas got that same stink on them in some respects. So
right.
So that's going to be a hell of a game Sunday. And then the Ravens. Look, is that in Baltimore or Miami?
That's in Baltimore.
That's a loss. I don't like the Ravens, and I don't like nothing they stand for. But you gotta, especially with my
tough
team.
To win an MNT.
Nah,
and especially with my team that winning right now, I ain't got no choice but to give it up. Like, the Ravens look like the best team in the NFL right this second. I know that, and maybe San Fran. Okay, maybe San Fran.
Yeah, San Fran.
San Fran's the best team. San Fran's the best team in the league right now.
The Ravens are definitely number 2, but the Ravens are definitely number 2.
Ravens are right there.
So I don't see that being a win for the Dolphins. And then again, here we are, Week 18, off of 2 possible losses for the shits and giggles. I could see morale going low. I could, like, all these dudes ain't.
Yeah.
Tyreek got that pedigree because he's from Kansas City. Outside of that, who else on that team got that pedigree?
Jalen Ramsey.
Okay, and Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, I don't see those
coach,
two.
Man. That coach is good. That coach,
good coach.
McDaniel.
Good coach.
Good coach. I ain't gonna front though. Miami. I ain't gonna front, man. I said this last week. Miami seems to have this Cliff Kingsbury-ish type of moments where they start off hot and then the second half of the season they start losing 5 out of 6 and things like that. That's Miami because they did it. They kind of did it last year. And they had a rough stretch down the stretch last year. And it seems like it's coming up again this year with the opponents they got coming up.
Yeah, and here's the situation, I mean, going in the future for Miami, man, because this like they did this perfectly. They got a good quarterback on a rookie contract and put the team around them.
Yep.
So this is the time where you're supposed to be going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. They don't got, bullshit corners. They got Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey at corner. Like, I get injuries that have played a part, but like they got to run a game. We ain't got to speak about. We know what the offense do. We ain't got to speak about the offense.
Yep.
But the defense ain't like trash. Like, they're not a trash defense. This should be. We should be talking about them in the same veins that we're talking about, like the Baltimores.
Right.
But we're not. Even though their record suggests that they're there, we're not talking about them in the same vein as we're talking about even Kansas City. And Kansas City,
the competition.
Like, Kansas City hasn't been good this year. Like, I get they're winning, but they haven't been good this year.
Not to their standards, yeah.
Not to their standards, right.
Yep.
So, with that being said, like, this is going to get tricky for Miami because what's going to happen next is you're going to have to pay Tua.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's when it gets tricky.
Exactly.
You got to pay Waddle too. You got to pay Jalen Waddle as well.
Right. So they about to miss the window. They about to fuck around and miss the window if they don't do it this year. And I don't see it this year, and I don't see it next year.
Right. Here's the thing I got, Ace, with your team. I think that's going good for you guys down the stretch. I think of all the backup quarterbacks that we've seen over the last several weeks, Jake Browning is playing the best quarterback of the backups. I'd say Joe Flacco's probably right behind him in that lineup there.
But are you talking about current, like right this second, or are you talking about overall the season? Because Josh Dobbs had a run this year too.
Josh Dobbs did have a run, but I don't think Josh Dobbs' numbers look great compared
to Thanksgiving and then
they blew the Broncos game that week, and then he
was having a good season though, and then it just
I don't know what happened even.
And he had to get pulled because they couldn't score on the Raiders.
Right. Well, he came back to look. And I hate that it always seems like I'm the one doing this because he was cooking, and I was like, good, I'm glad you're cooking, but I know this guy. He played with Pittsburgh several years.
Yeah.
This is not the guy.
Yeah, you said it.
And eventually came back to earth.
Yeah.
But
Jake Browning's playing the best backup quarterback right now.
For sure.
He's playing the best, and it helps when you got the receivers, Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd. It helps in that regard. I could see the Bengals getting that 6 or 7 seed. I mean, when you kind of look around, and I know the Colts got an easy schedule. I know Buffalo with their schedule and Denver. No, I mean nobody's talked really about Denver.
Because they cooked.
But you think they're cooked?
I think they cooked.
Denver was actually the team keeping us out of the 6th seed,
and then they dropped
us down to like the 10th seed. So them losing helped us out a lot.
Yeah,
I think they have an easy schedule remaining as well.
Right. They got to play the Chargers. Those same Chargers we talked about. They got the Chargers. They got the Raiders. They got New England.
Raiders might be tricky for them because the way that coach is.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce right now, he's kind of playing for just being the next head coach of that team. You drop 63 points on somebody, they should have gave him the job
right then and there, right? Facts.
Don't worry, it ain't gonna happen.
Got the coach fired, which should have been fired a year or so ago.
Last year should have been fired after the playoffs.
I say 2 years ago.
I
say 2 years ago.
Yeah. Right.
Wait, what was that? The
finale?
The whole Raider Chargers debacle.
They both could have went to the playoffs. Yep.
Yeah.
I think he should have been fired then. He shouldn't even been in that situation.
You're right. I forgot about that. That was crazy.
Yeah.
He shouldn't even been in that situation.
Called a timeout. Was like, hey, bro, we was gonna both, shake hands.
Both get in together.
Right? And you just call a timeout. Oh, okay. We gonna kick this field goal.
So you trying to win?
All right. Right. Messed that up.
He wasn't even smart enough to just take the damn tie.
Yeah.
That's just strategy. I feel like get your ego out of this shit. That's just strategy.
Yeah, for real. Hey, Ace, I got one more question for you, man. This is one of our favorite segments, and when we do this segment, we let the guests know to give out their, Twitter handles, YouTube, whatever. We get a lot of not complaints, but we do get a lot of feedback from the people and the listeners.
No, it's complaints.
It's complaints? Okay.
On my end, let me say that.
Okay. Well, we get feedback. We get complaints. Sometimes it's phone calls. Sometimes it's text messages. Sometimes it's through social media. And some of the things I see is, like, who's this nigga talking about they top 5? Like, they got the top 5 all wrong and all this stuff like that. So, let everybody know where they could find you at on Twitter and Instagram or wherever else they could find you at.
Yep, at New Stripe City, all one word, on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. You can also find me on the Wincinnati Podcast, on YouTube, AFC North Talk. That's a whole roundtable of AFC North, so you can find me there as well. But most likely you'll find me on Twitter. That's where you can really get a hold of me.
Yeah, so everybody listening, or listening or will listen in the near future, don't talk to me about it because it's not my list. It's not my list. Now, I know it's certain people that at my day job, I'm just trying to have my 8 o'clock in the morning coffee. Hey, man, the fuck was that? I don't know who the fuck. It's one or two, man. I don't know who the fuck y'all had on y'all show this week, bro. This nigga here don't know what the fuck he talking. But like these are some of the comments. And I'm like, hey, bro, my coffee's still hot, bro. I'm just trying to drink my coffee.
Hey, you got a smartphone? Go holler at him yourself.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Yeah,
Ace.
so my top 5, are y'all talking about Bengals top 5?
Bengals top 5.
Bengals, your top 5 Bengals players. Your
Top
list.
five, so
Your list.
This
Your
can
list.
be my list. So
Yep.
for those listening, this is my list. My favorite players, guys I think that were good. So if we're talking about guys back in the day, I am too young to have seen them play. I respect them. I did not see them play. So my era was more so in the 2000s and up. And with that being said, if I have to go with number 5 for me, is going to be Corey Dillon. I'm going to go with Corey Dillon as my 5th player. I was in the building when he ran for 278. Didn't know it at the time. That was the first win in Paul Brown Stadium as it was known back then. So Corey Dillon, if he played on better teams, this dude, honestly, I think he should be a Hall of Famer. But because those Bengals teams were so bad, he doesn't get the respect he deserved. Number 4... Man, this is getting tricky already. Number 4 for me, I'm probably gonna go with Geno Atkins, man. Geno Atkins, he was Aaron Donald before Aaron Donald. Shades of John Randall. Dude was amazing. Did a lot for the Bengals. So I would say Geno was one of my guys for sure. Third. So I went defense. I went offense. Third, I'm going to go with, let me think about this one. Third, I'm going to stick on defense. I'm going to go with Vontaze Burfict, man. I know.
Okay. All right.
I know y'all going to hate me for that. Vontaze Burfict.
No, I will say this. I always said, obviously penalties and him, whatever he did to Antonio Brown, he did it. But the type of dude he is, I would have loved him to play for Pittsburgh. I can say that,
and I hate that it was that the narrative about Vontaze, which rightfully so, because he did all that crazy stuff. He was a very smart, talented football player. Like, he wasn't the most athletic, but he was so good at predicting where people would be at and reading plays that he would just be there because of it. So I would say Vontaze just because he played. You know, he was a really good player. I think he could be a coach someday. That's how smart he is. Number 2, Chad Ochocinco, man. I got to go with Ocho. If Ocho's not in your top 5 as a Bengals fan, I don't know what to tell you. Ocho, you know, he got us through a lot. He actually made the Bengals mainstream. I think that he's the reason why
100%.
Bengals fans exist outside of Cincinnati. Definitely with Ochocinco.
I agree.
People know him for the jokes, but he was a hell of a football player, route runner, and all. He was crazy.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, for sure. Number 1 for me is going to be AJ Green, man. AJ Green, I can still remember watching his highlights and all of that before the draft and saying, like, man, the Bengals can't mess this up. If they draft Blaine Gabbert, I'm about to blow a gasket.
Yeah, right.
There's no way you can pass on this kid, AJ Green. And I remember at the time telling my brother and my cousin, like, this dude can be as good as Chad. And they called me crazy. They were like, nah, you crazy, because this was coming off of what Chad just did. And I felt like he lived up to that. But even more so, like, his personality is just, he's super humble, you know, always took care of business. Even when the Bengals were, you know, bad and up and down, he never, you know, complained or talked about get me off of the team. He was a classy person. Got to know him off the field, dope dude. But I will throw in an honorable mention because I can't forget my man, Willie Anderson. He is a top 5 Bengal regardless of whatever era that you played in. Got to talk about, I know people are going to be like, what about Anthony Munoz and all of that? I respect them. They're just not in my 5 because I wasn't there.
Right. What wasn't your era? I get that.
I get that. Yeah, because Icky Woods is, I hear an old person telling me about Icky Woods. I hear it. I look, hey man, I'm 40.
Respect.
I'm aware that Icky Woods existed. I'm even aware that he was a good running back.
Right.
I'm aware. I wasn't watching him.
Right.
I was fucking 5. Like
respect. I mean, respect to Boomer Esiason. He won an MVP with the Bengals years
I
ago.
know the players.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, right.
I know them, but I never got to watch them. And, we're blessed to have seen, players in basketball. You guys were talking about the NBA earlier. We were blessed to be able to see Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. So we can speak on it.
Right.
It's like if I never saw them, I can't speak on that. Like I can't tell you what it really is. I can look at numbers and all of that all day and say what I think that it is, but you had to be there for those moments to witness what was going on.
Absolutely. It's not the same.
I always tell these old folks that I wasn't there.
It's not the same watching old YouTube highlights of some of those players from back in the day versus actually watching them in person. It's not the same.
And that's what and that's what old people always tell me. Like you watch YouTube, but you wasn't there.
Right. Me and my dad got into it about Johnny Unitas and Tom Brady, and I was like, "Look, I wasn't there, Dad. All I seen is what Tom Brady has done, and we were fighting." He was like, "You know how he was drafted? They went down the street, saw him playing pickup, and drafted him." And I was like, "Look, man. All I know is I saw Tom Brady. I remember when Tom Brady first came in for Drew Bledsoe. I remember him winning a Super Bowl with David Givens and at his receiver and Kevin Falk at his running back.
Right.
Yeah, and your old running back, Corey Dillon, was on the Patriots too.
Yep, Corey ended up going. I remember cheering for Corey because he went through so much in Cincinnati at that time, man. Like before Marvin came, it was way worse than that before Marvin came.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I was happy for Corey, man. Actually got to interview him. So that was a crazy moment. That's why, like, when you do this YouTube stuff, you would never think, oh man, I went from cheering for this dude. Now he's coming on the podcast. So it's always full circle, man. So keep doing y'all thing. I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna go to the next level, keep elevating, keep doing what y'all doing because y'all got a great product here, man.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate that, man. One last time, man. Let everybody know where they can find you at on social media.
Yep, at New Stripe City on Twitter. You can find me also on YouTube. I don't really post on New Stripe City YouTube channel as much now, so you can kind of catch me at Wincinnati right now, and then you can also catch me over at AFC North Talk. So I'm always down to talk to people around the division. Since I'm on AFC North Talk, I'm used to having that banter and talking. We can talk X's and O's and all of that, so that's where you can find me. And sometimes if you're into the Twitter Spaces thing, I'll be in there too if you want to talk to me directly.
Hey, man, and last thing before I let you go, man, if you see anybody adding you about Carl Pickens, just ignore them. Don't engage. Do not engage.
I got you, bro.
Do not engage. That is not the conversation you want to have on Twitter.
For sure.
All right, man.
I appreciate y'all, boys.
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
See you on the internet streets.
Appreciate the homie right there, Ace from the Wincinnati Podcast. Check out all his stuff wherever you get your podcasts and all that, man. Bro, so looks like you're not gonna win no money, man.
It don't seem
with that Buffalo bet, man.
Don't seem that way, man.
I love Buffalo's chances to win the East right now.
Yeah.
Just kind of based on everything that happened. I mean, I think even you said it maybe weeks ago that if they could win 3 of those 5 tough games that we talked about, that they could, make that push. They beat Dallas, they beat the Chiefs. I'm missing a team. I think they beat the Jets. I was just more so saying that the Jets defense was going to be tough.
They had a stretch. They had a stretch where they had to have a winning record.
They had to have a correct.
And they had it.
And the one game they dropped was Philly, which
they
really
almost won that one.
They almost got that one. So yeah, it looks like, but to me it looks like their only way to the playoffs is the division.
Yeah. Based
on this wild card chase, man.
Maybe, because I don't know the numbers and how many games they lost and to who, more importantly. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It would seem to me that they need to win a division, and it would seem to me that they're going to win a division.
It seems that way unless Miami shocks everybody these next couple of weeks.
I mean, in turn, Miami would have to do what Buffalo just did.
Yeah.
With that tough schedule, that stretch of tough schedule, and I don't believe Miami. I don't. Not in that sense. I don't.
Right.
I got one more question, man.
What's good?
Rashad Mendenhall came on, went on Twitter, said he tired of mediocre white people telling him what's good sports and what's bad sports. I'm better than most of your favorite white athletes in football. And the list has started of an all-pro white team versus an all-pro black team. My man Will Compton, who is one of my new favorite people, because he went on social media and was like, "Hey man, these are for people who are not racist and who can have an actual conversation." And he spoke his piece that he feels like the all white team has a chance of beating the all black team. Let me say this. Well, first, have you seen the rosters?
I've seen the rosters. I don't quite remember them just off the top of my head.
Well, look. I'll read the white roster for you.
Go ahead.
Shout out to C. Lou, because I screenshotted it.
I know Justin Tucker's on that list.
They didn't. Yes. Obviously. On offense, all white team: Josh Allen and Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey at running back.
Yep.
Cooper Kupp, Hunter Renfrow, and Adam Thielen.
Yep.
At wide receiver. Offensive line, obviously white people dominate offensive line for the most part, so you just whoever.
Yep.
Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and Mark Andrews at tight end. The defense reads the Bosa brothers, Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson on the line.
Yep.
Logan Wilson, Matt Milano, T.J. Watt at linebacker. Here's where it gets a little sketchy. At cornerback.
Because there's not a lot of white corners.
Benjamin St. Juste, who plays for the Washington Commanders. He is not a white cornerback. He's mixed. Byron Murphy, who is also a mixed player. At safety, Jordan Poyer, who is also mixed.
Yep.
Micah Hyde, who is also mixed.
Right.
Reed Blankenship and Harrison Smith. Kicker being Justin Tucker and punter being Logan Woodside, who, by the way, I don't even know who that is. I don't know who Logan Woodside is. Hey, Will Compton, hear me, Maestro Styles, Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast with my co-host Trey Frazier. That team is getting their boots smoked without me even mentioning what the black team is.
You don't even have to go through the list, bruh. I think by the time you got to the offensive line, this team is not athletic enough to deal with an all-black team. This team is not athletic enough. I'm sorry. Look, I don't know how much more I can entertain the topic. I'll just say that lineup is just not that lineup ain't messing with any black lineup of players.
Well, I ain't gonna say any, but the best against the best. For certain. Like I ain't gonna hold you. Shout out to Cooper Kupp, amazing wide receiver. Sauce Gardner shutting that down.
Oh, facts. Nah.
Shutting it down.
Yeah. Nah.
Shutting it down. Nah,
man. I mean, we talk about Aaron Donald. I mean, we talking about like pass rushers, Daniil Hunter, Aaron Donald. Like, come on. At corner, Jalen Ramsey. Like, what we talking about? What we talking about?
But oddly enough, nobody mentioned Jalen Ramsey because nobody regards him as a top corner anymore. But
that's fair.
Patrick Surtain, Trayvon Diggs. Those are the names that were mentioned. Look, man, I'm looking at the defensive the pass rushers.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett.
They can't deal with that, man. They're not gonna deal with that.
Will Compton, they are getting the doors blown off. You hear me?
Yeah, they're not
dealing with
that.
I do not have the all white team fucked up. They're getting the doors blown off of them. the doors blown off of them. And as much as I love T.J. Watt, as much as I don't love the Bosa brothers, but as much as I respect their game, look, man. If you're coming from the left side, you better have more than you better have. If you're coming from the left side, you better have more than Trent Williams can block.
It's not close. You
better have more than he can block. I tell you that.
It's not close at all, man.
Yeah, they're getting the doors. I mean, the doors blown off. I think it's disrespectful that they didn't put Minkah Fitzpatrick on the safety list, though. That is disrespect. That is total disrespect.
I imagine that running back list on the black side got to be Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, what's the cat? Saquon. I would assume that
the list
those
reads
are the names.
Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, Kyron Williams from the Rams, and Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, Alvin Kamara is dusting those guys. Like, come on, man. Come on, guys.
Look, Rashad Mendenhall. Thank you for this good content piece. I don't know. Look, I don't necessarily agree with the comments of mediocre football players not being able to have opinions about what good football players look like, and whatever his criticism was. Look, man, they got their space just as much as we have our space to criticize what's good and what's bad.
Yep.
Whether right or wrong or indifferent. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm all for it. And I wish this game could get played.
Mm-hmm. Pro Bowl. And somebody.
Why aren't there any white cornerbacks, Trey?
I don't know, bruh. Well. Let me not say that I don't know. Let me not say that I don't know. I'll tell you what I think.
Okay.
Why there isn't any white cornerbacks. Look, every position you have to have some form of athleticism, but cornerback may be the most difficult position to play because
I think 100%
you're backing up, right? Because you're playing somebody in front of you, and then you got to be able to backpedal. You got to be able to turn your head. You got to be able to twerk your body paws. You got to be able to do all kinds of things at that particular position. And I just don't think a white guy at that position can be athletic enough to sustain a long career of playing that position.
Is there the best white cornerback known to man? Who is he?
I won't give you the best. I'll just throw a name out there. Jason Sehorn.
Jason Sehorn is the name that keeps coming up when I ask.
Yeah. That's the only one. Now,
can you think of another white cornerback ever?
No, but the Ravens had a white safety years ago. His name was Jim Leonard. He was
okay. I remember that name.
Yep, he was a short guy, but very tough guy. Yep.
But to be clear, we do have good white safeties. Harrison Smith is good. Blankenship is okay.
Right. Don't the Chiefs have somebody in their secondary? Maybe not this year, but maybe a year or two ago.
Oh, you're thinking about Sorensen.
Yes.
But he was more. But his title was safety.
Okay.
But he was clearly a linebacker. Like they played him. Linebacker.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't know of a white cornerback. I don't know of one. I mean, I know Jason Sehorn has played corner in situational football, I guess.
Right.
Maybe early in his career he may have played cornerback, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know of
I can't think of a white cornerback.
Ever.
Safeties, we could come up with some safeties.
Yeah, sure.
John Lynch, Hall of Fame safety, yeah. But
I don't know of a white cornerback. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I think it's because that position requires a lot of athleticism, man.
But are you saying that there are no athletic? Look,
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying there's not. I just think I think maybe for white guys, I think it's the least desired position to play of all the
I think
positions.
Least desire. I think it's least desire to fucking anybody. Nobody wants to play DB. I get people that are good at it. Mm-hmm. I think black DBs are traditionally wide receivers who couldn't catch the ball.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
That.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a fact. You had a lot of guys play receiver turned into cornerbacks, or you had guys that play receiver that turned into quarterbacks too. But we're talking corner position here. I just think, man, with the athleticism at that position, I just think black guys can facilitate playing that way. I think a lot better than white guys can, and I think it's the least desired position for white guys to play because of that.
Based on what you see of Cooper Kupp, do you believe he could be a starting cornerback in this league?
From what I've seen, I believe he can.
I think so too.
I believe he can. The game against the Ravens game against the Rams a couple weeks ago, he made some moves, and he caught some passes to where it was just like, yo, how did he get that? He can move around a lot better than people may think.
I mean, look, let's be clear.
Yeah.
He's a top 15 wide receiver, maybe.
And we're talking this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
I mean, maybe. Yeah.
Well, he was coming off the injury, so
Yeah. I mean, look, again, 2 years ago we was talking top 10. So
triple crown.
Yeah, right.
Won that the year they won the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, right?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Hey man,
picks.
Yeah, let's get to that. There's a lot of playoff games this week, man. So we got the Saints at the Rams on Thursday night, and both teams are 7-7, coming off some wins, and right. So I think the Rams right now are in the 7th spot, and the Saints are in the 8th spot in the NFC. Okay. And the Saints can still win the NFC South, right? Because they're tied with Tampa for the lead there. So So who you got on this one? Rams. Yeah. I'm with you, man. It's not a home field advantage kind of a thing. I just think the Rams have been on a roll. They had won 3 straight prior to the Ravens game, and then I think they're on a roll to.
And that I didn't realize that running back was that serious. Mm-hmm. He's serious.
Yeah, Williams. Yeah.
Kyron Williams is serious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Rams. I think the Rams are gonna make one of these wild cards in the NFC, and you might get a Stafford versus Detroit first round matchup kind of a thing.
And I'm hoping for that. Firstly, and secondly, I think the Rams win.
Okay. Hey, we'll see if it happens, man.
Yeah,
we'll see if it happens. All right. So these Saturday games, we talked about the Bengals and the Steelers, and Mason Rudolph is going to get the start. And you got some injuries too, right? Minka's not going to play.
Man, I don't think Minka's. Last I checked, Minka's not playing. Najee's not 100%. Obviously, KZ suspended. Hayward is not 100%, but I'm sure he's playing.
Yeah.
Fryermuth is not 100%, but I'm sure he's playing. Obviously, Trubisky's been benched.
Look, man. I try to be as objective as possible when it comes to these AFC North matchups, man. The Browning right now is just, he's kind of doing his thing right now, and this is the second time you're gonna see him, and I guess the big thing is y'all got some tape on him, so y'all played him the first time, it went y'all way. This time it's in Pittsburgh, and the Bengals got some injuries too. I don't want to forget that too. They might not have Jamar Chase, and that's going to be a big deal.
Oh, he's not playing.
Oh, he's not playing. Okay, yeah, that's a big deal. And then you got the injuries on the defense for Cincinnati with DJ Reader being out, and I thought they lost another linebacker in that Minnesota game, but this is going to be like one of them 13-10 kind of a games, man.
I would love Pittsburgh to be on the winning side of that. That's all I care.
I have said that Tomlin at some point will get 9 wins some way, somehow. And this is probably one of the games that he's going to have to win to get it. So I guess Pittsburgh pulls this one out 16-10.
We're gonna have to win. We're gonna have to win 2 out of 3. So I mean, pick this game and pick the next one.
Right.
Do we beat Baltimore or do we beat Seattle?
Right. Well, it depends on what we do. I mean, if we got the 1 seed wrapped up before that game, then as much as I don't want them to sit the starters, just from a rhythm, standpoint, they're probably going to rest starters that game. So like they did 4 years ago. So, but that would probably be win number 9, because I don't know if y'all gonna beat the Seahawks next week, but we'll see. And then this other Saturday game. So we like Buffalo over the Chargers.
Yeah.
Although I'd be interested to see how the Chargers respond to now.
They don't have a quarterback.
Ain't
Justin Herbert out for the year?
Justin Herbert is out for the year, but I ain't gonna front, bro.
I don't even know who their backup is. Who's their backup?
Easton Stick. Pause. But no, but you know what it is for me. That team, that entire team. It wasn't just the quarterback. That entire team sent the message last week, allowing 62 points against the Raiders. They said, "Yo, we don't want this dude around here no more." They sent that message. So now that guy's not there no more, I'm wondering how much they're gonna get up for this game. That's what I'd be curious about. I still got Buffalo winning. I'm just curious if they they want the season to be over at this point, or because the dude ain't there no more, he just gonna they just gonna get up for him. So so here we go with Sunday's games. Another playoff game. Colts at the Falcons. Who really at this point, man, they should just fire the coach for Atlanta at this point, man.
Damn, who is the damn coach?
Arthur Smith. Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they ain't doing nothing better.
You can't just score 7 points against Carolina.
Yeah, they ain't doing nothing
and
better.
get beat. So.
Yeah, go ahead, fire him. Why not?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, what's the point? Y'all don't even know how to use Kyle Pitts for real. I like the Colts in this game.
I do too.
I like the Colts. That'll put Indy at 9-6 and prime for a playoff spot. What are they? They're number 7 right now.
7.
They're number 7, yeah. So I think they keep that spot. Seahawks got a big win last night. They faced the Titans in Nashville. And that should be a win for Seattle. And I hope Geno comes back, by the way, too, because I didn't think he was going to miss last night's game.
Right.
But they're going to... And quite frankly, because we kind of talked about them the past several weeks with the gauntlet that they had, and them beating the Eagles, to me, was a season saver for them. So, so now that the tough part of the schedule is out of the way, I would anticipate that they could, find a way to win all 3 of these games coming up. So
you would think.
You would think. But give me Seattle this week, and then we got Detroit at Minnesota. I like the Lions in this one, although it will be intriguing to see how Brian Flores deals with this offense. And they gotta see him again in 2 weeks. That's the interesting thing. Also, I mean, Minnesota. I mean, I guess you could say is still alive for the division, but I'm not believing that. And then you got the Commanders at the Jets. Whatever. Just pick the
Commanders.
Pick the Commanders, right? show them a little bit of love, right? Packers at the Panthers. I like Green Bay.
Yeah.
In this one, Green Bay took a step back last week. Cleveland against the Texans.
Cleveland.
You like Cleveland? What's the deal with Stroud? Is he still in the protocol?
Last I heard, he was still in protocol.
Still in protocol? Although, man, that was
Case Keenum didn't look terrible.
No, but D'Amico Ryans won that game last week, though, man. Mm-hmm. I watched the fourth quarter a little bit, and then into that overtime, and he just kept sending pressure. He just kept sending after Will Levis, man. D'Amico won that game for the Texans, and they in a tough spot without the quarterback, and Cleveland, Flacco's, playing some good ball with the offensive line being there and all that. So, yeah, I guess I got to take the Browns. But I got to keep in mind, they like 2 games behind us, so. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville at Tampa Bay.
Jacksonville.
Now, Lawrence is in protocol, too.
Right, he's in protocol. I think he'll find a way to get on the field, though. I don't know why I feel different from him than from C.J. Stroud, but...
Well, because the Stroud hit on the turf was it looked more brutal for Stroud.
More so, my reasoning is that Jacksonville recognizes that they're in a playoff situation.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what they're fighting for right this second, but... I know that. I mean, they don't have the South locked up.
They're tied. It's a 3-way tie right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They don't have the South locked up. So I would imagine that Lawrence finds a way to get on the field.
He better pass it.
I fully believe
he better pass it.
I fully believe that he'll find his way onto the field.
That's what
I'll say.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll see. It wouldn't surprise me to see Jacksonville win this game. Tampa had a huge win last week, but I think if Lawrence plays, I'm picking Jacksonville. If he doesn't play, I'm picking the Buccaneers.
Okay.
Cardinals at the Bears. Give me the Bears.
Sure.
Big one on Sunday afternoon. Cowboys at the Dolphins. Where you at?
Hell of a game.
Yeah. One hell of a game.
I'm taking Dak. Dak is on his MVP run. I'm taking Dak.
Mm-hmm. You don't think he played himself out of it last week?
Maybe, but he can get right back into a game.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. He can get back in the race. I don't know that he eventually wins it, but he can get himself back in the race. I don't know that he wins it
either. I'm just talking about him being in the race.
Yeah. Give me the Cowboys. Miami still got to prove to me that they could beat a good team. Dallas has proven that already, by the way. They beat the Eagles and I know we feel Seattle's not like San Francisco, but they're not Carolina either. So
right.
Yeah, they've had a couple good wins on their belt. Miami has yet to really get that. So give me the Cowboys. Patriots at the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos at home.
Broncos, yep.
Christmas games. Raiders at the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Giants at the Eagles. Eagles bounce back.
Yeah.
And the big one, man. The big one. I'll be in the house for that one.
Yes, sir.
Ravens at the 49ers. This is a Super Bowl preview right here, folks.
It would seem that way.
Yeah. This is it. 11-3 versus 11-3, man. Look, man. I'll be honest with you. I would be okay if we lost this one in a close game. I'd be okay with it just because it's an NFC opponent and it won't affect our conference record kind of moving forward. But I would like to get this win. This is a litmus test. This is a good test for this team, man. We just lost Keaton Mitchell last week to a torn ACL, so we're not gonna have him. They called up Melvin Gordon from the practice squad again. So again, here we go with another Melvin Gordon sighting. Hopefully that doesn't burn us down the road here. But yeah, man, I like my chances, man, on Christmas night. But if we end up losing this game, it's a non-conference loss. And actually, it would remind me of when the Giants played the Patriots in the season finale, the year that the Patriots went undefeated. when they played that game and they said, "Ooh, if we can get to the Super Bowl, we know how to play them." Like this situation would kind of remind me of that if we ended up losing a close one to San Francisco when we wind up seeing them in the Super Bowl. So
who you picking
for this week? No, I'm picking the Ravens. I'm picking the Ravens. Yeah,
I'm definitely picking the 49ers. Not because one team is significantly better than the other. I just think the 49ers won this and it's at home.
This is they're at home. Now that's respect. They at home. They are the best team in the league. So best team in the league. So you got to give them that respect, man. Shout out to folks in the chat, man. I see Carlton Henry in the YouTube live chat.
What up?
I see my guy Sean Sims up in there.
What up?
And shout out to the homie Ace for coming through, man. Talking
sir.
some Bengals football and all that stuff. So, folks, continue to follow us on the social media platforms. On Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. Click the like button on the Facebook page. Click the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Also follow us on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. If you got questions, comments, you want to email us, barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com is where you can reach us at. Also on Twitch as well. We stream these live on Twitch as well. Write us a review. Let us know what you think. Any of these streaming platforms if you listen on the audio side. And folks, we got the merch store. It's getting cold. We got some hoodies. Check out the link in the description of this episode, whatever platform you're watching on. We got some other good stuff, mugs, t-shirts, all that good stuff. So, bro, if you got nothing else, man, love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
To everybody out there as well. Y'all be safe in them streets. Don't hurt nobody out there. And as always, folks, mind your damn business.
Drink some water.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles.
Recording stop.
Right back like we left some. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up. Trey shot with the blade, you know we sizing it up.